Hello, welcome back to Send Him Off. I had my second COVID vaccine today, and ironically, us two pricks are back. My name is Sam, and joining me, as always, is my ever-present podcasting partner, Alex. How are you doing?
Not too bad. We're all right. West Ham today, and I do have a special place for West Ham because of a certain Lucas Fabian. I'm sure we'll talk to him about him a little bit.
We love a bit of Lucas Fabian.
But Lucas has a special place in my heart.
He does.
But we're not talking to him. Sam, who are we talking to?
We are joined by another guest, of course. Today, it's the turn of comedian and West Ham fan, Trevor Bickles. How are you doing, Trevor? Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, gents. Thank you for having me on the show. Pleasure to be here.
No worries.
Delighted you've come on, mate.
Yeah,
honestly.
Forward to it.
I've got a special thing about Swansea as well. So there we go. My wife
made in heaven.
My wife went to Swansea Uni. So there you go.
Oh, there we are. What a place, Swansea Uni. What a place.
Where to start? I think the only fair place to start with West Ham is what madness went on last season.
Yeah.
Sixth place finish.
I tell you what, I don't think anyone would have predicted that, would they? I mean, right at the start of the year, bit of doom and gloom around the club as normal. I think we lost the first two games. Everyone was thinking, here we go again. And Moyes and the backroom team done an absolutely outstanding job in bringing the team together. And like at one point, it was almost Champions League, which was almost unheard of.
You were flirting with the top four, not briefly. Like there was a few moments you thought, maybe they will.
I won't lie. Last season at the start, we did preseason predictions, and I had Chelsea to win the league and West Ham
to go down. Sam said he was going to go down. Yeah,
no, I was completely wrong. And again, though, we've done a few of these previews, and when we're previewing like the first couple of fixtures, if this was last season, I would have gone, so and so's got West Ham third. That's a winnable game. Now I'm looking at them and I'm going, that they've got West Ham third. That they're probably going to lose that.
That's the thing with us. It's been such a dramatic turnaround as well. Like you say, I would have been the same as a West Ham fan. You start looking at some of the fixtures and you start thinking, for example, like Arsenal, you go, oh God, we might nick a point there. Now I'm looking at someone like Arsenal going, do you know what, we could win that.
To be fair, I think anybody will look at Arsenal and say, do you know what, we could probably pinch a few points off them. I totally agree with you. Like West Ham, they're a dangerous team. They're a very dangerous team, especially after last season.
Yeah.
Real talent.
He's got us playing really well. One thing I think Moyes really installed in the squad, from what I read, was he wanted people that were hardworking. I think he said to all the players at basically start of the year, it was something like there was a fact that he pulled up that we were like bottom of the league when it comes to like fitness levels, work rate, time on the ball. And he basically said to the squad, look, this has to be the opposite. We have to go. This has to be. It can't be like this anymore, basically. And I think he got rid of some of the deadwood, some of the people that what you might consider maybe a bit more lazy and not hardworking around the squad. And he's got everyone pulling together. If you look at that, everyone sort of attacks, everyone defends. And for once in a long time, the players look happy, if that makes sense. The players look like they actually want to be there and they're really enjoying it as well.
Yeah, there's a bit of a buzz around the club, I think. Personally.
I was going to say, even though you've got sort of, there's the problems with David Gold and David Sullivan, I do feel like the fans are starting to get behind the team more because I think I was watching Match of the Day. It must have been a couple of years ago, and they were it got to a point where the fans turned. I can't remember which game it was. I'm sorry, but they turned around and started like looking at the owners of the club and started like going for them sort of thing. So has that kind of changed, or?
I think that was the Burnley game. I think when you're talking about,
could well have been.
I think. Do you know what? I think no West Ham fan would really want to admit it, but in sense, I don't think we would want to admit that. I think, footballing wise, we're so much more united behind the side. Because I think one thing that David Moyes has brought is stability, something that we've not had. We've not had stability. We've not had consistency and a hard-working ethic. Unfortunately, we've still got the issues with the board behind the scenes and that are kind of rumbling and coming to the surface again. And my worry is, when we get fans back in the stadium, will that kind of negativity return? Which I don't really, I don't want it to, because look what can happen when it ain't there, when they're not there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think the worrying thing as well.
No, go on. Sorry.
No, go on. Sorry, go on. I know it's
Oh no.
I was just about to say that's what the worrying thing.
I'm talking. Why not? No.
I think there's a delay. You're in there somewhere. Yeah.
Let's just jump in.
I was just going to say, we've spoken loads and loads and loads. People are probably sick of us hearing about us talk about the home advantage and that it sort of disappeared last year. I think it will be really, really interesting to see how West Ham do with fans back at the London
So it was
Stadium.
almost as if West Ham had a home disadvantage kind of at the London Stadium, because when they moved away from the bowling ground, it took them a while to sort of settle in. Last season, it was almost like a fortress, but it was a fortress without having the atmosphere. But I am interested to see now what it'd be like, with the West Ham fans back, shouting, jeering, screaming, singing, chanting, everything.
I totally agree. I think, when we first went to the London Stadium, everyone knows the history behind it. Everyone knows the sort of the bad feeling and what caused the problems at the club. Now there's always people blaming the boards. There's people blaming the team. There's people blaming the manager. Unfortunately, Nick, if you even sort of compare last season, what's the one thing that was different? We weren't there. So I think it's really, I think, in the fans' best interest now to sort of go, look, all right, we might not like the board. We've got a few issues, but look what they can do without us. Imagine what they can do with us. If you know what I mean? That's
agree.
Totally.
Yeah. So only one signing so far, I think, which is Alphonse Areola in goal, who impressed me at Fulham last year. I mean, I know they went down, but he was one of their better players. Surely, I mean, I think that's probably made Alex a little bit upset, because it might be Fabianski might be ousted. But I think he's a player who makes your team a lot better. With all due respect to Fabianski, I think he's the type of player who'll take you forward into that European football sort of that feeling where, along with like Cresswell, Soufal. I think these are players who, Diop, Rice, I expect to see them on the European stage now, and they sort of give West Ham, like I said, West Ham have got a different edge to them, I feel, this season. I'm not looking at this West Ham team like I've ever looked at West Ham team in a long time, particularly, definitely. And I'm thinking that they're strong, and they could almost become a little bit of a Leicester, I feel.
Yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree. I think we've got that kind of Leicester feel about us. I think you're right. Obviously, Areola, I agree totally. I think when we signed him, I thought excellent. I'm a big Fabianski fan as well. So
that's all right. That's fine. That's good.
No, a massive fan. No, honestly, I love the guy. He's been an absolute blinding servant for us. But I think, he is a good keeper, Areola. You can't fault that. No, I think it does worry a lot of West Ham fans as well with regards to our dealings in the transfer market. It goes back to the board again about our trust in the board with what money they're going to spend, basically. We have not, I've seen us linked with quite a few players from, I've got Pereira. Is it Matthias Pereira at West Brom?
Yeah, West Brom.
Danny, we was linked with Danny Ings, but
he's just gone now. We were recording another one. He just went to Villa.
Yeah. So I think that's the Grealish money being spent. Kurt Zuma, is it Milenkovic at Fiorentina as well?
Yeah.
And and I'm a bit gutted Brentford went up, actually, because we were linked with Ivan Toney, and I like Ivan Toney. I think he's a great player. But I think, the worrying thing with us at the minute is we seem to be linked with everyone,
but we're buying no one.
We're buying no one. It's a standard West Ham pre-season. We'll just be, if you had a half decent game in the Euros, you were getting linked with us, basically.
I'm having a look at the midfield now, and we got Manuel Lanzini, Mark Noble, Pablo Fornells, Thomas Souček. Oh, well, there we are.
After this season.
After the season. But there's every chance you could have a look at the midfield and say, right, we're playing 5 in midfield. All 5 are going to start. Well, who's going to come on then? If so-and-so gets injured or so-and-so needs, replacing. Who's going to... And the midfield just looks really thin on the ground.
Have you looked at our forward line?
Well, there's not too many of them either. Yeah.
There's one, and that's Mikel Antonio, who's basically a makeshift midfielder playing up front.
I was going to say, because he was
right back at one point, wasn't he?
Yeah, I remember him being at least a midfielder, but he's, he was banging the goals in the last. Fair play to him, like he was banging them in.
10 goals last year, isn't it?
Bad. The problem with him is though, he's injury prone. He's all the time, and I think every time he went down last season, every West Ham fan kind of panicked. It was like, please say he's all right. And I think we really need 1, if not 2 forwards. If we're going to be playing in Europe and we want to take that a bit seriously, we really need to invest in the squad. And I think that's what is, from what I'm reading on the socials, that's what's worrying a lot of West Ham fans at the minute.
Yeah, for sure. You are very thin on the ground. I've got a feeling though, Saïd Benrahma is in for a bit of a special season. Scored one hell of a goal the other day against Brentford in pre-season. Sorry, there's a helicopter directly over my house. I don't know if anyone hear that.
Sky News, mate. They want our opinion on the Danny Ings signing, I think.
Yeah.
Is it? I can't hear it. Is it really?
I can't hear it. Yeah, I
probably won't get picked up then. There we are. Carry on.
Carry on.
Professionalism, as ever.
I did wonder what you were looking at there. Fly or something like that. He's looking at.
So loud. Yeah, Ben Rama. I think he's in for a bit of a special season. I think it took him a season. We were talking with Chris on our Norwich special yesterday. It will have been.
It will have been yesterday, but it was
out.
about 5 minutes ago in reality.
He was saying it's so loud. He was saying there's some players who brought into the Premier League need a sort of season to bed themselves in, and then the season after they just explode. And I've got a feeling that Said Benrahma is going to be that player for West Ham this year.
Totally agree. I think he's had a great pre-season. And that goal, I think you talked about the goal against Brentford.
Yeah. Unbelievable goal.
Yeah, and I haven't seen the matches, but I've sort of read up on it after the games. And from what I heard, he's been absolutely brilliant. Been playing, and hopefully, he really comes into his own, because he did get off to a bit of a rocky start with us at first. I think he wanted to get that first goal. He looked a little bit nervous, but obviously we've had the pre-season now. Hopefully, you're right, he can really come into his own.
Do you know what that really annoys me about Said Benrahma though? Is he's not a number 9, and he wears number 9.
Yes. Yeah.
It's way irritating. And number 9 should not be allowed to play on the wing. It just shouldn't be allowed.
I was going to say about Yamalenko. I think Yamalenko's do a big season.
Yeah. Really good Euros as well.
I was going to say a good Euros, and I'd like to see him have a really good, because he's got the quality. He's a really good player, and he played really well for the Ukraine. I'd like to see him do quite well for West Ham too.
You're right. He is a good player. He's not everyone's cup of tea over there. And I can imagine. He's not everyone's cup of tea. He's got one foot. We always know he's got a left foot. That's basically it. And defenders can suss him out quite quickly. And he did have a good Euros. You're right. I have heard a rumour that he might be getting offloaded because of his high wages. But
really?
There was two that were linked to going, was Anderson and Yamalenko, because of the high wages that they're on. Anderson was on, and they were both over £100,000 a week players, and for us that's a lot of money. And I think rumour has it they were potentially going to get a shot of him. But if we don't sign a forward, I suppose you could try playing Yamalenko up front as well. That's a possibility.
Yeah, I think a forward's it's a must, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think everybody realised that, though, the fans, neutrals, I guess. David Moyes, he's no fool. I mean, we've called him a fool many a time on this podcast for his time before West Ham, but he is no fool. He knows what he's got to do. Antonio, we mentioned 10 goals last season. I mean, not bad, is it, considering how often he was injured? But 10, if you're pushing to get higher than that 6, then I think you need somebody who's going to take the mantle and score more than 10. I think you need to be hitting 15 plus.
Well, you look at Jesse Lingard. He was sort of and I think not being able to hold on, because I totally interrupted what you were about to say. I'm really sorry about that, but I just wanted to say quickly about having another player in like Jesse Lingard who will sort of like the fire kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think you mentioned about Jesse. I think, well, me personally, I'd love to have seen there, but my heart of hearts, I thought he ain't going to come. I just had this feeling he ain't going to come, and he was the turning point for us. When Antonio, you're right, he scored 10 goals, but I think it's been a long time. I can't think of the last time we had a decent out-and-out poacher come goal scorer.
Dean Ashton.
Dean Ashton. That's what I'm saying. You're going back to Jermaine Defoe, someone like that. You know what I mean? You're sort of really going back, like even Dave Connolly.
That kind of player, maybe,
Dave Connolly, we had a while ago. He was not a bad player for us, and we do always seem this to be struggling to sign a forward. I think there's some ridiculous stat. We'd signed something like 30 forwards or something like under Gold and Sullivan. If you Google it, there's like a picture of all the signings we've had forwards, and they've all been flops.
Well, Sebastian Haller. So you bought him for like 40 million, didn't you? And I think you sold him for like something around 20. You lost about half of it. Another flop. So, would you prefer another Sebastian Haller brought in, or keep your front line as it is, thin?
I think Sebastian Haller, like with the potential kind of thing. You don't know what he's like. Spend quite a bit of money on him and then have a look, or leave it as it is, keep the money, and
I'd actually say keep it as it is then, because I think I felt a bit sorry for Haller. So I watched him a little bit in German football, and he's got Ajax. He ain't done bad from what I gather. And I think with him, it was always square peg, round hole with him. He never ever fit in with us. It never fit his style of play. Same with Chikorito, Javier Hernandez.
Yeah.
It just never it was on paper. The name looks good. It just never fit. And I think I'd keep the money until we found the right player for us. Personally,
yeah, I think that's probably sensible.
Smart decision, yeah, smart decision.
I'm looking at your opening fixtures: Newcastle, Leicester, Palace, Southampton, and Man United. And other than maybe the Leicester and the Man United game, I think there's 9 points there at least.
Yeah, I think the Newcastle one. Actually, no. Do you know what? I'm going to say Newcastle. No, they've got a real bogey. They've got a bit of a thing over us. They always seem to nick a few points off us whenever they need a point off. Whenever they need a point or sort something out, they can do it. I think that's going to be a bit of an iffy one, personally.
Well, it's a good thing you said, because Newcastle, I'm not fancying them to do very well at all this season. So if it's the first game, they won't need any points, so you might be all right against them. They won't be in need. Right. So you should be all right if it's the first game. Second game, you'll see, but
fingers crossed. Yeah, well, I think you're right. I think we've got Leicester, that might be a tough one. Palace, doable. Southampton, very doable. So I think hopefully we can get off to a really, really good start. And obviously we've got the exciting thing with Europe as well this year. Something that's very different, like kind of a nice little addition to the season for us, which makes a change.
Yeah, I'm slightly concerned about West Ham doing a Wolves and just getting burn out by the end of the season from playing European games. But then again, I'm looking at their team, and maybe like the likes of Declan Rice. I think Fornals has probably played European football before. There's a couple in there who will have.
I think it's a good opportunity for like some of the under 23s, under 21s, some of the the second team players to come in and sort of bolster up the team a little bit. If you don't make the summer signings, to be able to say, right, well, I played a little bit of European football with West Ham, and it's it's good for them, pick up a bit of experience and things like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with what you're saying about Wolves. Totally agree with that one. That is my concern as well. If we don't invest, it's one of them kind of, if we don't invest wisely, but yet can progress in the tournament, I can see us doing the Wolves. Yeah. If we go out early doors in Europe, we might stand a chance because we've still got a bit of a season left to maybe climb up the table a bit, and maybe the players won't get enough burnout. But no, I agree. I think the Wolves. I'm worried that we could do a Wolves next season as well.
Yeah. No, sorry, go on.
No, I think it was a delay. Go on, continue. I think it's a bit of a delay.
I was just, it is all to do with the recruitment. That there was strength and depth, which, like we've been saying, you don't really have a lot of, which concerns me. As somebody who's quite enjoyed watching West Ham last year, they became a little bit. I say I've got about 15.
I was going to say the all Premier Leagues. You were second team.
Leeds, West Ham. I quite
Leicester. I quite enjoyed
Leicester. But anyone that's not Arsenal, really.
You're not an Arsenal. You don't like Arsenal at all.
No, I'm not a big fan of Arsenal.
He doesn't like Liverpool either, but we won't get into that.
Anybody but Liverpool. It concerns me a little bit because I don't want you to do a Wolves. Because I think it's a shame where they've ended up. I know they're still in the Premier League. It sounds like they're in League One, doesn't it? But they're not quite the force that they used to be. Maybe they will this season with the new coach. But I want to chat about David Moyes because obviously it's his second spell at West Ham, and at the start of last season we did a wasted potential squad builder where we picked 11 players who we thought had wasted the potential, hadn't lived up to the potential, and our manager was unanimously
David Moyes,
the chosen one. We, safe to say, we sort of ate our words by the end of the season with what he did with you guys. Is he now? Do you think there's any chance that even if you have a horrific season, I'm talking about like relegation, but if you're mid-table, to bottom half high, do you think he's cemented his position for a while?
Yeah, I do. I think I think like I say, every West Ham fan was the same as yourself. Was all of it kind of negative at the start of the year, and we thought, crikey, what we got in store for us the rest of the season. But I think when I look at Moyes now, I think West Ham fits him a little bit like a glove. He done really well at Everton, and to me, Everton remind me a lot of West Ham. They're very, very similar clubs.
100%.
And I think he went away. He went to places like Man United, which was a poison chalice. No big manager wanted that job because they knew it was such big shoes to fill. Then I think he went. Was it Sociedad?
He went over to Spain.
And Sunderland. He was relegated with Sunderland, wasn't he? As well?
And I think he actually came out and said something like Sunderland he regretted doing or something like that. So that they never really fit Moyes. Yeah. When he first come to us, he actually kept us up. He'd done a good job, and I think the fans have really warmed to him. I think he is the Moyessiah, as we call him. And
I was going to call him Saint David, so that's a better one, the Moyessiah.
We call him the Moyessiah. He's the Moyessiah.
I like that.
I think he has really warmed to the fans. I think because we've seen what he's done with absolutely nothing, a depleted squad, no funds, and he managed to take us into Europe. Yeah, all right. If we don't get to Europe next season and maybe do a little bit of a Wolves, I think fans would be totally on his side, because they could see if there hasn't been investment in the squad, we've had extra games. Fans, we're critical, but we're realistic, and I think we could see that he's done a great job. So no, I don't think he's going to go in there for a while.
I'd like to see him stay.
I'm
enjoying him.
Purely just to see what Andy Tate has to say about it.
Yeah.
Moyes, I think he'll stay. Genuinely, I think it would go nowhere.
I hope so. I really do hope so.
I hope so too. I agree. We are running out of time, but Alex knows this by now. I asked
the obligatory last two questions.
Two questions. Obviously finished 6th last year. Brilliant for West Ham. Do you want to stick your neck on the line? Give us a prediction. Where are you going to finish this year?
Well, kind of what I said earlier. I think it really, really depends in the next couple of weeks with regards to investment in the squad. I think if we get the right investment, get some players in, bolster the team up, I don't see a reason why not having a decent cup run, decent European run, and doing top 6th to 7th again. I read that as long as we get investment. Without investment, same thing again. What you said, I can see us doing a Wolves. I don't think the squad can hold out, and maybe 10th or in the top 10. Around
it's not the end of the world, though.
It's not a bad season, all things considered.
Yeah.
No, I think what frustrates West Ham fans, sorry to interrupt, I think what frustrates West Ham fans the most is the fact that we can see the potential. We can see, we're on that cusp again. All it needs is that just little bit of investment, that little bit of something just to take us to that next level. I think that's what frustrates a lot of West Ham fans as well.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree with you. I'd love to see you do it again. I really, really would.
I would.
The second half of last season, I just thought it was lit up by West Ham. I just loved watching them. The first half of the season, and to be honest, all through the season, there was a couple of teams, if they were on TV, I would not go out. I know we couldn't go out for a lot of it because we were in lockdown, but I wouldn't move from the TV. I'd be like, Man City are on, we're watching them. It's good football. Leeds are on, loved watching Leeds. West Ham are on. Oh, I'll definitely watch West Ham tonight. Yeah. They became one of those teams, and I really hope they do it again this season. I have a funny feeling after speaking to Chris yesterday that Norwich
will do the same.
Might well be one of those teams this season.
It'd be a good season this season to watch.
I agree.
And I'm
looking
forward
to
it
as well. It'd be nice to just have the fans back. And final question, Trevor: who is your player to watch?
Well, I think we've mentioned him already, but I'm going to say him again because I think this season, I really think he's going to come into his own, is Benrahma. I really think his pre-season's been brilliant. We spoke about the goal against Brentford. He seems like he's getting a bit more comfortable in the team now. And I think you're going to see the Benrahma that played for Brentford. And yeah, any fan that's watching, watch Benrahma, definitely.
Watch this space.
My player still Fabianski.
Yeah, and Fabianski as well.
I've got a little star next to Aaron Cresswell's name, personally. I just got a feeling. I loved watching him last year. I thought he's superb. I thought he's one of your best players for me anyway, as a neutral.
No one to watch as well is Lanzini, because we're playing him in a different position now. We've actually pushed, I think it's more into the centre midfield rather than an attacking midfielder. And apparently as well, he's been playing really well in that position. So he might be another one to watch out for, seeing how he's playing his Lanzini as well.
Interesting. Keep an eye. Trevor, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you.
Really enjoyed it.
Looking forward to West Ham season. Best of luck. Would you like a couple of moments just to plug your socials where people can find you?
Yeah, I'd say I am a stand-up comedian as well. I'm on Instagram. My name is Trevor Bickles. I also run a little bit of a podcast as well. It's not football related, it's comedy related. It's a YouTube/podcast show called Real Taxi. I'm sure you lads know a similar version of it.
Yes.
We're on YouTube. So if you look up on YouTube, The Real Taxi Show, on podcast, it's called The Real Taxi Show. If you're comedy fans, I interview up and coming comedians, and I'm looking to get a bigger guest shortly. No, that's me. That's all my socials.
Fantastic.
Nice. Before he goes, check him out on TikTok as well. Yeah, I enjoy it.
I completely forgot my TikTok.
Well, plug the TikTok.
Go on, quick.
The one I've completely forgot, the biggest one, Big Trev's Taxi on TikTok. So I'm also a London black cab driver as well.
Lovely stuff.
Go and check it out, guys.
Yeah, thank you for joining us once again. Al, it's been a good one.
I enjoy going to London, but West Ham did enjoy this one, a little bit extra, I think.
Thank you guys for listening. We'll be back tomorrow with another preseason preview. I can't tell you who it is. It could be anyone at this point. But
We've only got a couple left, haven't we? But,
keep your eyes peeled for that, and we'll see you soon. Ta-ra.
Take care.